Hello everyone and welcome to Porsche's 2021 Cayenne GTS here in its coupe form and really in its most hardcore configuration. I've spoken a couple times on the GTS products from Porsches that I have already covered on the channel with the Macan and the Panamera, that the GTS is the driver's oriented version of the respective product, giving a lot of standard features that drivers in particular will find the most interesting. But with the one I'm testing out today, we have something added on to this GTS. It's called the lightweight package, and it really intensifies the mission of this GTS and takes this Cayenne Coupe to a point, I think, beyond driver involvement. I think this is a vehicle specifically for Porsche enthusiasts and really the kind of individuals that feel like they're going to get the most out of this very specific package. But otherwise, what is the GTS all about? Well, we have the 4-litre twin turbocharged mild hybrid V8 engine. It produces 453 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque in this configuration. Of course, it has an all-wheel drive system with a rear bias, sending more of the engine's torque to the rear wheels in most driving modes. And that power is taken from the engine to the wheels through a single clutch 8-speed Tiptronic S transmission. The reason why the Cayenne uses a single clutch over the dual clutch PDKs is one, towing capability. Most people buying an SUV want to tow, and that's something that dual clutches aren't particularly good for. And another thing that will be a downside for most dual clutches is off-road capability, doing that very slow speed stuff. What the GTS provides is the entry point for the V8 powertrain in the Cayenne. We have large 21-inch wheels as standard, lots of black exterior trim, a 30mm lower ride height over a standard Cayenne, the Porsche Adaptive Suspension Management System, and air suspension with 4 ride height modes. And those driving modes can be selected through the touchscreen or with the knob here on the steering wheel. As another feature with the GTS is standard Sport Chrono. The brakes are upgraded over a standard Cayenne, 6-piston calipers up front, 4 in the rear. Perhaps it could use even larger brake steel. If you really push the GTS on a back road, you can feel that pedal extend a little bit, and having larger brake discs I think would fill out that rear wheel space a little bit better. Let's take this a step further and talk about what the lightweight package brings to the Cayenne GTS and why this is a particularly focused vehicle, and why I think it's up to real Porsche enthusiasts to spec this option and live with this vehicle day to day. There's 4, I think, critical things that come in this options package. One of them is the carbon fiber roof. You can probably tell by now that it's quite a dark space in the Cayenne Coupe, and that's because there's no glass above me and it's all covered in the beautiful race text, just a suede by a different name really. But then on the outside, it's a whole carbon fiber panel. It's double bubble, saves 46 pounds. The second thing is the interior. Look at these seats. They're leather and a cloth combination, and Porsche labels it as just classic fabric, but what a good friend of mine pointed out, and she's quite in the world of fashion, is that it looks like houndstooth stitching, styling, design. I'm not sure exactly what it is. As you can tell, I'm not the most fashionable individual, but she pointed that out right away, and she is absolutely right. Third thing is the wheels. I mentioned that as standard, the GTS comes with 21-inch rims, but here we have 22s that saves at 4.4 pounds. Now, the fourth thing to add onto that list is the exhaust system, because as you can see in this GTS, we have 2 large oval central mounted exhaust outlets, very different to what we would see of the quad exhaust outlets that would be on the edges of the bumper. But this isn't just a different placement of exhaust outlets. It's an architecturally different system underneath, and Porsche has removed some of the sound deadening in the back, totally rearranged the muffler layout, so now you can no longer tow. There's no way to mount a tow bar or a hitch under this, but it gives a fundamentally different sound to the V8 and really increases the volume. Let me have a little fun for you, demonstrate it here. Second gear. Not only are you getting quite a lot more volume than what I experienced with the 4-liter V8, the same engine in the Panamera GTS, but when you go into Sport Plus, there's a lot more accents of burble tunes back there when you let off the throttle. A little more nuance to each downshift. And it just intensifies the entire experience of this GTS, and that's why I think this is a particularly hardcore vehicle. You are going to have to make a lot of trade-offs to not necessarily make this a more difficult vehicle to live with, but a more intense vehicle to live with. Like I said, it is quite a dark space here in the GTS. It makes you focus more on the road ahead, and if you're ever going to be pushing the Cayenne GTS on a track, it's no bad thing. You want your eyes on each apex that you hunt down. But in day-to-day driving, you're not really hunting down apexes. You're looking for a prime parking spot. So even though, like all the other GTS products that I've been able to try out, the Cayenne GTS Coupé is absolutely thrilling. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour can happen in 4.2 seconds with the performance launch start, according to Porsche. As always, feels much faster than that. But this is something that feels perhaps a little more compromised, perhaps a little more centrally focused on one particular goal that I've personally experienced out of these GTS products, comparing to the Panamera and the Macan. Saying all that though, this Cayenne isn't at all difficult to live with. Yes, the ride is a little busy even in normal mode, and with the tires wrapped in Pirelli P0s, you're absolutely going to need another set of wheels when it comes to winter. But being inside of the Cayenne GTS and living with it for the past week, you're rewarded with all of the brilliant things that Porsche products provide to you. This vehicle is based on the MLB Evo platform, so one of the higher end platforms shared amongst the VW group brands. Build quality is exceptional. Leather is found throughout the vehicle, and we've got little carbon fiber accents found throughout too. I'm particularly fond of the houndstooth layout, as I personally love cloth seats. It gives this Porsche a little more personality. Couple other things worth mentioning about the coupe layout. Even though I'm 6'4", I could quite happily sit in the back of a Cayenne Coupé. There's just a little bit of headroom to spare and a fair amount of knee and foot room when sitting behind myself. The standard configuration is a 4-seater layout in the Cayenne Coupé, but to have a 5th seat belt, a 5th seat, is a zero-cost option for this product. And I've spoken at length that they aren't really the kind of vehicle for me, and all of them have the same downsides. There's less visibility in the rear, less storage space, less practicality, and they all mostly go for some sort of premium, and that is exactly the case with this vehicle. Plus, the rear windows don't go all the way down, which is always a particular annoyance for me. As I've said a couple times now, I think this particular Cayenne GTS is going to be more appealing to hardcore enthusiasts. But when we're talking about the driver's SUV, I don't think I've been in anything really in this class that feels as dynamic and as engaging. The steering feedback from the road and the on-center feel is by far the best I've experienced in any of these mid-size V8 super SUVs. And there's more than enough theater with this product that whenever you want to feel a little special and push that V8, you are rewarded with a proper smile every single time. So after living with this Cayenne GTS for a week, I really have come to adore it. Even in its coupe forms, the drawbacks aren't significant enough to even someone like me to not consider a vehicle like this. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.